but I do not think Angie Stone died in that car accident. I'm sorry. Like, I really don't want to make it seem like I'm diminishing her passing by turning into some type of conspiracy theory, because I promise you that's not the case. But why have we heard so many conflicting stories about her passing away, like the incident? Somebody said she was sitting on the side of the road as she was instructed to. Like, it's just so many different passing stories, and none of them really make sense as to, like, you know, so what did the car accident have to do with it? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, and why was she the only one that passed away? And I'm, you know, not wishing no harm on nobody else that was in the vehicle, but it just seems strange.
Al B. Shore is really focused on keeping Angie Stone's memory alive right now. He believes there's something off about her death. There have been several different stories about how she passed. Some say she died in a van, while others claim she managed to get out of the van just in time to be hit by an 18-wheeler. Al B. Shore has always had strong opinions about the music industry, and he thinks it's more than just a coincidence that Angie died just weeks after accusing UMG and her legal team at Arista Records of cheating her out of her earnings.
I'm tired of seeing people in this industry, especially Black people, mistreated, misused, not paid. I'm tired of paying for funerals for people because they don't have the money to pay for the funeral. I'm tired of seeing 60, 70, 80-year-old women out on stage performing when they've been in the business with all these #1 hits. And I had one that said to me, well, one day I'll be a millionaire. And it had been in the business all of those years.
There's been a lot of talk about a possible sleeper agent within Angie's inner circle and the confusion surrounding who hired the driver and booked the van. This mystery keeps getting more complicated, and I hope you're ready for this deep dive. As you know, Angie had been going live occasionally, sharing secrets about how she managed to survive the music industry. After her death, it became clear that Angie had been preparing to reclaim everything that had been taken from her. Do you remember the Diesel team Angie mentioned in her last video? She had put together a team that discovered she didn't own any of her publishing. This team found out because Angie had left all the business decisions to her legal and management team, the ones who were supposed to have her back.
I got a team of people, a Diesel crew, that's really trying to help me navigate things. And if I never get it, at least you heard it from me, because I don't know what they might do to keep from paying me all the money they owe me. Okay? All the money they owe me. It's ridiculous that someone has played with my life and my career for this long, for their own benefit. I mean, have you no conscience?
The leader of this Diesel team was someone Angie had connected with in the industry, named Stone Paxton. The interesting part is that Angie didn't start looking into her publishing and music deals until after she ended up in the hospital with a blood infection from an infected needle. When Angie first reached out to Paxton, she was exhausted from touring. She didn't enjoy being on the road as much anymore, but needed the money to support her family. So she and Paxton teamed up to see if they could get her a Las Vegas residency, where she could earn money, avoid burnout, and stay safe. However, after she got sick and was discharged from the hospital, Angie began to realize something wasn't right. She couldn't understand why she was still working so hard after having so many hits throughout her career, while the people managing her and sampling her music were living comfortably and retired. Why wasn't she able to do the same?
November, and Angie's going through different situations, and we're talking. There's things that she needed handled, and she didn't want to go on the road. She said, I don't want to go back on the road to have to financially take care of certain things. And I said, well, the sooner we're able to get a calculation of the songs and the value of everything, Ange, then we're able to get you a check, right? So Ange said, well, she said, I calculated, and I'm owed about $50 million between here and overseas.
At that point, Angie made a big change by switching her management and signing with TBC Group, bringing on Vassal Benford as her manager. She had them dig into the details and follow the paper trail. Imagine working tirelessly for 40 years, still, touring at 63, only to discover that all your hard work was just filling someone else's pockets. Angie was in for a shocking realization. It was difficult for her to accept that she didn't have any publishing rights under her name.
That day when Vassal called me, we had a meeting, we talked, and then the next day, I didn't hear from Vassal. Then he called me, I think the day after that. And he says, can you get Angie on the phone? And I said, yeah. And I said, what's wrong? And he explained some things to me. He says, not good. And I called Angie, I called Stoney, and I said, Stoney, I got Vassal on the phone. She, in her cheerful voice, hey, baby, how you doing, Vassal? Hey, so good to hear from you. And this is when he had to tell her, you have nothing. There's nothing there. There's no songs. Now, before he called her, he said to me, Stone, there's nothing there. And there's nothing there. We found nothing. Am I missing something? And I said, big brother, we're going to have to talk to her and see what's going on, because we just could not figure out why there was no...
All of Angie's mechanical royalties, publishing rights, and earnings from her 11 albums, totaling nearly $50 million, were tangled in a web of secrecy and legal paperwork that she had no part in. So she and her Diesel team began reaching out to people in the industry and the legal team that had represented her while she was with UMG. According to Paxton, Angie recorded those conversations and kept everything carefully stored away for the lawsuit she was planning to file. Her live streams weren't just about connecting with her fans and making money. Angie wanted to expose her struggles and gather public support. She knew that once her team had enough evidence, they could take legal action against UMG.
I got a team of people, a Diesel crew, that's really trying to help me navigate things. And if I never get it, at least you heard it from me, because I don't know what they might do to keep from paying me all the money they owe me. Okay? All the money they owe me. It's ridiculous that someone has played with my life and my...
Now that Angie is gone, there's a lot of confusion about who controls her legacy. People are also questioning who hired the driver and booked the van for the trip. On Angie's team, there's finger-pointing, with everyone trying to shift the blame. This is likely why we haven't heard much from the others who were in the van with her.
Details started to unfold. And certain things didn't make sense to me even right then, even to her. She was saying to me, something don't make sense. She even told me that later on, I'll talk about that. But anyway, so she's telling me what happened, and I'm like, dang, that's just kind of crazy. And, this person got hurt. Everybody else is alive. Angie's gone. I said, damn, that's weird. I was like, it's kind of weird. I said, damn, Angie's the only person that passed away? Yeah. So she was like, yeah. She's like, and she was saying that stories didn't match, that one person was saying this. Somebody said they had held Angie. The other person said they were the ones that held Angie, was like lifted her up or something like that, man. And I was like, well, what's the story? And she was just like, I don't know. She said, nobody know. First of all, she was saying everybody in the band didn't know anything. She said, well, they can't remember nothing. That's what she said. She said, well, nobody can remember anything. And I said, well, dang. I said, well, that's kind of strange. And the ones that did say something, the stories were conflicting with each other.
Angie truly cared for the people around her and always tried to see the good in everyone. There's word going around that this is what UMG allegedly wanted, to create division within her circle. The rumor is that there's a sleeper agent close to Angie's family, stirring up drama and turning people against each other. This is all supposedly to ensure that the lawsuit and investigation into Angie's legacy get buried and quietly fade away.
One thing about Angie was she would not share her private business with many people. She was very careful and calculated about sharing paperwork, sharing her privacy with how her life is going. She really didn't share the personal paperwork with people. You understand what I'm saying?
Now that Al B. Sure has spoken out, he believes Angie's death was a sacrifice to silence her and stop the work she was doing to hold the label accountable. He shared his last conversation with Angie, revealing that she had started becoming suspicious of the hospital she was going to for treatment. She really needed someone she could trust to take care of her. What did she see that made her so concerned? But it didn't stop there. Angie also called out the dysfunction and corruption in the industry, expressing relief that people were finally waking up to how shady and diabolical it truly was. Al B. Sure, who faced a similar situation where he nearly passed away but was revived, has now spoken up, insisting that Angie's autopsy report needs further investigation. He claims she warned him before her death. People not close to the situation are noticing that something doesn't add up with Angie's death and are urging her family to continue with the lawsuit. What makes Angie's passing even more tragic is that she had been speaking out about the injustices in the music industry. It's a sad, suspicious turn of events. The most messed up part of her tragic passing is that her streams are likely going to skyrocket now, but her family won't see a cent of that money. It'll all go to the people she was trying to expose for stealing from her. Shaking my head, I don't think Angie Stone's death was an accident. It happened just days after she called out her label for taking her royalties. Definitely highly suspicious.
You dirtnecks that pretended to be so hurt by the loss of the great Angie Stone but within 48 hours, you found a way to profit off of her demise.
People keep saying not everything is a conspiracy, but y'all, we're allowed to question this one. It just feels plain eerie. With Al B. Sure and now Stone Paxton saying Angie was really up against some powerful people who didn't wanna see her win, do you think this is a stretch? Share your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button because we'll be covering everything about this story. I'll see you in the next video.